All right, we're here talking Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm bringing in great guest Ken Barnard, Yinzer, living in Baltimore right now. This is my favorite former comedian and Steeler insider, if you will, Ken Barnard. Welcome, Ken Barnard, to the box and the Bottom Line Bombs.
Thank you very much. Happy to be the Yinzer in the box with you here. Yoy and double yoy. I got my Myron Cope on today.
I see that, and I went Iron City for you as well. And this is not a Steelers hat, but it's yellow and black, so it's
close enough.
Yeah, I got a nice Canva. Got a nice picture of you there back there with. Is that just a guy you met randomly at a Steelers game there, the sombrero?
That is probably the best football game I've ever been to. That was Steelers versus the Chargers in Los Angeles when they played in that tiny soccer stadium.
Yep, guaranteed rate. Great stadium.
Oh yeah, all Steelers fans. That was when our quarterback was Duck Hodges, and I was blowing a duck call.
I see the duck, and I see the duck hat. You have a duck on the hat. I'm like, what the fuck was that for? Is it Roethlisberger throwing duck?
Yes,
I forgot Duck Hodges.
This was the hunting theme. I got camo pants. So yeah, and my wife has a picture somewhere, but there was a Chargers season ticket holder that went to that game and sat behind us, and you could just tell on his face from my constant duck calling, he should have sold the tickets. He could have made $1,000 and not have to listen to
right
for 4 hours. But great game.
All right, let's fire it up here. Overall, what's your general feelings with the Steelers? Come on, speaking of my Canva work, look at this.
Whew, beautiful. You got the Heinz logo knockoff in there. You got Terry Bradshaw, and who's that? Willie Stargell.
Yeah, Willie Stargell, and they're both Sportsman of the Year there. It's the City of Champions.
Sure.
Yin's got, you're bringing in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, two quarterbacks. I know you, you have strong opinions on it. Justin Fields is a great fantasy quarterback of the Little Mermaids. Shout out to Little Mermaids of the CCFL. But what do you think about that, just in general, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields coming in?
So here's the interesting thing about the Steelers. They have fired Mike Canada as their offensive coordinator. Yep. They traded Kenny Pickett, one of the worst starting quarterbacks ever. And their offense this year could actually be worse than it was last year.
Come on.
I mean, you're replacing Matt Canada with Arthur Smith. Justin Fields, I think the best thing I can say about Justin Fields is he is going to lose Steelers games like the fan base has never seen before.
Yeah, that's true. They don't know what they're getting with Justin Fields. He's hilariously a blunder quarterback.
It is, it's going to be interesting. And, we haven't had a quarterback of color in some time. So, there's going to be a point, week 4, week 5 that, a sensitive, PC snowflakes might have to disable comments on some of that stuff. But yeah, Justin Fields probably going to be a nightmare.
Definitely disable comments. Now, for my time in Pittsburgh, when I went to Duquesne University, and this goes way back, obviously, but Pittsburgh, of course, got some racism in it, like any city or anywhere in America. They'll hide it a little bit. Like, let's say, like Cordell Stewart was the quarterback when he was doing bad. They would just spread some "he's gay" rumors. They'd mask their racism with homophobia, tack that in there, and say, "Yeah, I heard Cordell was sucking a guy off, and the cop said let him off," or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a really hilly town, so it's easy to hide the racism, in these little caves and tunnels and et cetera.
But the offense has got to be better just because of replacing Canada with Arthur Smith. And Arthur Smith, bad head coach. Say all you want about that, but he's a good offensive coordinator. And they only threw. I was just looking at some stats here. They threw for 13 passing touchdowns last year. That's impossible.
Yeah, I mean the whole Kenny Pickett thing. They drafted him because they were familiar with him from Pittsburgh. They practice in the same facility as the Panthers. Drafting Kenny Pickett in the first round, the only quarterback drafted in the first round that year, is essentially marrying your high school sweetheart. They're like, I know he can get me off. I've seen him. I've gotten 4 years of decent hand jobs. Let's lock this in for 6 or 7 years, and obviously it didn't last that long.
No, it did. As far as playmakers goes, they have Pickens, of course. They don't really have a number 2 receiver. I guess they're going with Roman Wilson. Is that what they're going to try to get in there?
I mean, they got Van Jefferson,
yes, right.
Roman Wilson, who got hurt in training camp, and then Calvin Austin, who is a speedster guy. But they don't really have any established. They don't even have like a Brandon Cooks or anybody that's that you would really trust in that 2 role. So I think your number 2 receiver is probably going to be the tight end Pat Freiermuth.
Yes.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe Cordell Patterson. I think.
Another Cordell in there. Let's get a Cordell. Let's get Cowher. I never like that soundbite of Bill Cowher going, Cordell, get in there and punt. And they would play that all the time, and Cordell Stewart slash. But speaking of which, they will. I mean, that's what Arthur Smith does do. He runs the ball with 2 backs. So Najee Harris and Warren, of course, will painfully split the carries again, I guess, this year.
Yeah, and that is in line with the Steelers' mentality. Is not necessarily just the smash mouth running the football, but being stupid with how they telegraph everything. They're basically saying they're going to run the ball. They're not interested in motion or play action. They want to. They're the meathead that wants to be tougher than you at the expense of analytics. And
now let's get over to the head coach, Mike Tomlin.
Tuck that cross. See
tuck that cross. You say, huh?
If I knew that this image was going to be in there, I would have requested you Photoshop it. I don't like how you would never have. If you were a politician, I mean, maybe you don't wear. I don't want to. Nobody wants to see it. I don't want to see it. Right. You're a representative of the town and the city. Tuck the cross is what I will say to your viewers. I hope that catches on. But yes, I will.
It's not going to catch on, especially with Steeler fans or football fans in general. If you're going to tell them to get Jesus Christ out of their football, that's not going to happen. But of course, he's the longest tenured head coach. Never had a losing season. I'm not sure if you're aware of that as a Steeler fan, Ken. This might be the first time they've ever done it. And he's actually, I was kind of surprised. He's 16-1 to be the first head coach fired, which is kind of mid ground, like one of the favorites. Now, to everyone else but Pittsburgh, it seems like blasphemy to fire Mike Tomlin. But real Yinzers like yourself have been telling me for years that he is not a good coach. Please explain.
Okay, so I have been meaning to check before this. I don't know where he is in the contract status. I feel like he did get re-upped for 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So, and just you can put whatever number you want with a plus in front of it. The Rooneys will not fire a coach that is under contract. They are frugal or cheap or whatever you want to say. Not going to happen. They do not do it.
What specifically do you hate about Mike Tomlin as a coach?
All right. So all the things that I liked about him initially, I hate. He is a media personality. He is not a football coach. You listen to him. I mean, there are bingo cards of all the Tomlinisms. Iron sharpen iron. Defend every blade of grass. The standard is the standard. We do what we do. These are all just words. He's a fantastic politician. As far as coaching football, I don't think he's good at all. Now, the never had a losing season thing is, like we were talking about, I think, in pre-show. It is this contrived media thing that the people say, but it doesn't really mean anything. So to me, when people say that Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, it's the same thing whenever, the Wall Street Journal comes out and says, oh, well, unemployment went down. Things are doing good. It's like, no, unemployment's down because, your Uber driver has an Uber driver to get him to his graveyard shift. It's a made up media fact that doesn't mean anything. Never had a losing season is like, you go to a car dealership and you ask the guy like, well, how safe is the car? And the car dealer says, well, it's got a 5-star crash safety rating when it runs into helicopters and speedboats. It sounds like it's a good thing, right? Never had a losing season. That sounds like a good thing,
right? Yeah, means he wins.
But yeah, it means you win. But no, I mean that would be like asking somebody, "Hey, is your dog friendly?" And you would say like, "Well, he's never stabbed anybody." It sounds like
right.
It sounds like that's a good thing, but it's not. And yeah, I mean, if you were to explain that to somebody outside of football, so this Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Okay, so you guys won that season? We didn't win. So you won the Super Bowl? No, we didn't win. We just didn't lose.
We didn't lose.
Yeah. So it's a meaningless thing. I mean,
we didn't stab a dog.
Correct.
Let's put it that way.
So yeah. So his catchphrase of the standard is the standard, I think bites him in the ass because the standard is poor.
The schedule is pretty tough here. It starts off nice and easy for Russ. Yeah. Tell you what, after that bye week 9, it gets pretty tough for them. Besides Washington, you got all of your divisional games, and you guys are picked to come dead last in a division, and then the Eagles and Chiefs. I mean, that is not a good way to finish the season.
No, and here's the thing: they always drop a game against the Raiders. They lost They lost against Bruce Gronkowski Raiders. They lost against the Terrell Pryor Raiders. They always lose the Raiders. They'll lose that game. They'll lose the Cowboys game. So that first 6 weeks, they are optimistically they're 4-2. I don't think that first half of the season is as much of a cakewalk, or the first third is as easy as we think.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that opener at Atlanta? A little Arthur Smith revenge game versus Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. That could go either way.
That could go either way. I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
But it's also a Cordell Patterson revenge game.
It is. There's a lot of revenge going on there.
You're a Pittsburgh fan in the city of Baltimore. Your rival, the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers just acquired last year, Patrick Queen, the famous Ravens linebacker, to juice up the rivalry. And he acclimated himself to Pittsburgh very well by saying Pittsburgh food is better than Baltimore food. He says, I'm a big food guy. I love food. I'm more of a true food guy than a rather seafood guy. I like meat and stuff like in that. It's just a better atmosphere for me here. What a crazy quote. A true food guy, which is meat and stuff, not your flaky seafood out there in Baltimore. And this, of course, had a huge debate online between Pittsburgh food and Baltimore online. By that, I mean Reddit, and Yinzers and Baltimore's. Now you're in the crust of it. You, I think, might be the foremost expert in the country of this as a Yinzer living in Baltimore, because no other Pittsburgh people would dare go out there. I put a couple of the basics here. You got your Permanis on the right, of Pittsburgh salad and pierogies versus crab cakes and whatever other shit Baltimore throws at you. What say you in this debate between Pittsburgh food and Baltimore food?
Here's the thing. You have, for Pittsburgh, you have pictures of a sandwich and a salad with fries on it and pierogies, which is all correct. If you have ever been to Pittsburgh, if you ever go to Pittsburgh, the only thing I can think of that Patrick McQueen says this is he likes Italian food. Literally every restaurant in Pittsburgh is Italian. It's all pizza. So if he eats like a child, I get it. And pizza's great, but that is the majority of when you're, they're going to show the Permane sandwich during the game. If you drive around the city of Pittsburgh, it is all Italian. So that's the only thing I can think of. I would say that Baltimore has better food. I think there's a little bit more variety. It's not even they have more seafood here. But yeah, I'm happy to have Patrick Queen on the team. I would disagree with him here, but I get, if he likes sausages more than fish, then he's in the right town.
No, what about pierogies versus crab cakes in general? That seems like to be the hot topic. I think pierogies is more fun to say than crab cakes, but I'll prefer crab cakes over it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I live in Baltimore. I eat a crab cake like maybe every other month or something. But yeah. I could always do a pierogi. The other thing is, like, you can have a bad crab cake.
You can definitely have a bad crab cake, and they're always never really. They're always disappointing in general. Like, even if they're good at first, like, you're not going to bang out 4 or 5 crab cakes.
No, and especially in this economy, the crab ain't cheap. So if you're talking bang for your buck, you're definitely you're getting filled up on a pierogi, because a crab cake out here is going to cost you $30 for one. So I mean, he's got a good contract, so he can eat whatever he wants. But yeah,
if that's not a T-shirt, I don't know what is. In this economy, the crab ain't cheap. was fucking hilarious. All right, Ken, I'm going to let you go. I know you have a community chorus to go to, like all my football insiders on a Sunday, and you'll be praying for a good. I know you won't be praying to the cross. Tomlin, tucking that cross.
Tuck the cross, Mike.
And manifest a good Steelers season. Thank you for joining us, Ken Barnard, and have a good Sunday.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yes.